everybody. I'm Jocelyn. I'm an alcoholic. And I do have experience with the steps as they're laid out in our book with the help of God. Lots of meetings like this with the help of sponsors. And I live in all the steps to the best of my ability on any given day. I got my Kleenex ready. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those shares. I like to demonstrate how I use the current step in my life. It's very much active in my life, and for that reason, I might need my tissues. So when Dave gave me the option of what week I was going to speak, I chose this one not knowing what the step was. And 3 times in the last, 6 months that I've been asked to speak on a step, I've chosen a week not knowing it's the 10th step, and here we are again. My reaction was, I got no new material. I got nothing. My God, what am I going to say? So I kind of just set it aside and really didn't think about it, because I also don't like to think too much about and plan. I like to keep it current. And as God would have it, my sponsor in another program was leading a meeting and last week, and she decided to forego the daily reflections, which is what we usually speak on. And she said, I'm going to focus on the 10-step promises. And I thought, perfect. So I'm going to start with a warning, because I love that they have promises, warnings throughout the steps and the instructions. So on page 85, and this is way too short a reading, by the way, for my comfort. I would like to have delayed it a little bit longer. It's easy to let up in the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We're headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance. I can already feel it. 10th step in action. What we really have is a daily reprieve. Contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. It's the proper use of the will, it goes on to say. So those are the promises. And then it goes on, well, the final paragraph says, much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and direction from him. And he did a lot of that in the last couple of weeks. Who has all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we've begun to sense the flow of his spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this vital sixth sense. But we must go further, and that means action. So I've got a lot of experience in the last, I did the book step study, the formal part of it, in 2010, and I've had a lot of experience with not using step 10 and entering into a very toxic relationship that I noticed. It was a shiny object. I married that person, and it turned out to be really sick. So just because I had been through the step study process, if I'm not working at step 10, I'm in great danger of being blocked by the sunlight of the Spirit, and that's what happened. So then I'm going to go to the beginning where we have the instructions. We vigorously commenced this way of life as we cleaned up the past. I did that. We've entered the world of the Spirit. I do that on a daily basis. And my function is to grow during 24 hours in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. I'm one of those people, sometimes slip quickly, sometimes slowly. Mine's been a very slow process. It should continue for our lifetime. So I have continued to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we've harmed anyone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. So I was speaking to my sponsor yesterday, and a sponsor in a different program, but she's also an AE, so I don't know why I feel the need to qualify that, but I was saying I'm currently participating in a spiritual study hybrid. I'm the only quote-unquote outsider. That's the story I tell myself. I'm an outsider. Because I don't belong to that church. And these people, the rest of the people who are both in person and on Zoom, have all been a part of this particular spiritual practice. The principles resonate with me, which is why I'm attracted to it. And they welcomed me with open arms, but I still felt like an outsider. And so I was telling my sponsor, I have to write this paper, my final paper. I don't know how vulnerable I want to be with these people. She said, well, vulnerability is real. It attracts people to you as a person. I said, okay, but I still don't know how vulnerable I want to be, and I'm not sure why. And I started to talk about this other woman, and I said, oh, I got to send you a 10th step. So I wrote the 10th step. And this is what I wrote, because I realized it was blocking me from making a decision about how vulnerable I wanted to be, which to me equals telling the truth. So I wrote this out. I resent the gray, short-haired woman in my class at the Center for Spiritual Living. She always, in quotes, shares after I share, and she sounds judgmental, like she's lecturing me personally. Selfish. Oh, it is all about me. I want to be seen as enlightened and evolved. And the lies I tell myself, oh, I know she's talking about me. Without saying it, it's so obvious. The class was partly about, that particular class, was partly about monitoring our judgmental thoughts stemming from fear. I can relate to that. And I shared, and then she followed me again, because she always does. And she says, she starts out by saying, I'm going to try not to sound judgmental, but. And I know she was talking about me. She was very judgmental. So the truth was, maybe she was talking about me, maybe she wasn't. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't read her mind. And I'm spending all this time in my head judging her for judging me, for judging her, for judging me. And round and round and round we go. And I'm thinking to myself, hey lady, take your own advice. Truth is, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of being rejected because I'm not enough. I'm afraid of being unlovable, and my mother was right about me. So that was the first 10th step. And then I started to think about this paper that I wanted to write, and I had another resentment, and I won't read this one. This was based on fear. It was basically, I was peeling the layers back, and it was really a 10th step on fear. But I realized there was another resentment attached to it because of the fear that I was feeling, because my fears fuel everything. They trigger my character flaws. They trigger these lies I tell myself. And let's go to the end of this. How many minutes do we have? 6 minutes, perfect. And then I'll wrap it up. Okay. So what I knew that I was going to write about, and I was going to probably weave my 12-step recovery into it because that's my reality and the steps. But I knew I was going to talk about my dog that died 2 weeks ago. The beautiful white therapy dog that I bring sometimes. My blessed Saoirse is very much present in my life. But it happened in a really traumatic way. And I thank God that I was doing my 10th step and living in the steps when it happened, because I needed absolute clarity to make the right decision when this happened. And I adopted him over 5 years ago. He was a very healthy, at that time, retired show dog. That's what I thought I was getting, because I adopted a lot of sick animals, and that was okay. That was appropriate for them. But within a year, he started to develop very serious problems, and I really needed to be on my game and clear and very intentional about the way I cared for him. And, it ended up with him having 3 very serious illnesses. And I had alarms going on several times a day. My husband was helping me to manage his seizure meds and this other thing and then this other thing. And so I really had to be very clear all the time, wake up every day, deal with what was in front of me. And I went from seeing him as a sick dog to addressing him as my happy, healthy dog. And the practice that I had gotten into, because I have a difficult time with gratitude, like I'm the kind of person that is grateful when I get the thing, then I can be grateful. But I was learning how to be grateful for all that is. It's part of the spiritual practice. So I would wake up every morning, get them out of the crate, and say to both of them, thank you for showing me what unconditional love feels and looks like. Thank you showing me that I have the capacity to love in this way. And Sunday morning, 2 weeks ago, something was terribly wrong. And the whole way to the hospital, where they knew him really, really well at this emergency place because of his various issues, which is very unusual. They usually see people once in an emergency situation, but it just so happened that every time something happened, it was on a weekend. So we always ended up there, so these people knew him. They adored him. And so we landed there, not knowing that we would not be bringing him home. And so the whole way there, I said, there is one source, one life, one God, expressing as comfort, you are whole. And I just kept repeating this like a mantra, and I was perfectly calm the entire half an hour ride. And he was screaming. It was horrific. And they brought him into triage. And the whole time I'm praying, God, may I be clear, may I understand what's being told to me, may I make the best decision and there will be no doubt, because when I've been in this position before, there's been a lot of should I, shouldn't I, this at the time, then I regret it, could I have done more, all this angst. But the doctor came out and he started speaking to me very clearly, very clinically, and I'm taking in what he's saying, and I'm taking in what he's saying, and I'm saying, God, help me to understand what he's saying. And he said, this doesn't look good. Went back into triage, he came out, told me about the blood clot. And so I kept repeating after him because I needed to be clear. I said, so you're telling me all you can do for him is manage his pain and you're not able to do that? And he said, yes, that's what I'm telling you. And he said, if you try to dissolve the blood clot, it will be more painful than the pain he's in. And it will probably come back and he may bleed out, and I'm taking it in, taking it in, taking it in. And then I have that moment of, God, you know what you have to do. And I knew that he knew the moment I knew, because the tears started, and I saw this professional vet get tears in his eyes and compose himself, because he knew that I knew. And we had brought our other dog. She got to say goodbye. We got to say goodbye. I knew with absolute certainty this was the most compassionate, loving thing I could do, and that I would be okay afterwards. And I knew I knew that all the work that I had done to get sober from all my addictions, because I am now sober from every addiction I have: drugs, alcohol, sugar, sex, love. You name it. I'm sober from all of it now, so I am an unfiltered receiver of life. And I have a spiritual malady, so it says we don't, we always have alcoholism. It's but a, am I coming up on time?
I didn't want the time
okay.
to interrupt you.
I'll take a few minutes to wrap up. I was so grateful to be on this path. It started in 1984. and that I would be given the time to recover and to set aside everything I think I knew, to develop a closer relationship with God. And that has evolved over time. And part of the way that has evolved has been in living in the 10th step. And although they give you instructions here, you have to answer these questions. I did it with a sponsor. She taught me how. I got some formal practice at doing that. And I had a lot of experience with not doing a 10th step, so I know what not to do. And now, because I have that experience, showing up for life, a clear channel, I have the best shot of addressing those parts of my spiritual malady that are still need healing. And I saw the direct relationship between the adoption of that dog who was healthy. I knew that there was a benevolent power in the universe that knew that I needed to be matched with him, because I would do whatever I needed to do. And the promise that I had made this little dog when he started getting sick was, I will care for you as long as you want to be on this earth. But when it comes time, you must make it really obvious. Good news and bad news. It was really obvious. But I needed that clarity, and I needed to be able to make a split-second decision and simultaneously be able to say, and my heart is breaking, simultaneously be able to say, I am grateful for this moment. I am truly grateful for this moment. That I was entrusted with a life of this dog. And he came here, and a lot of you knew that little dog, and both of my dogs. And I know that both of them provide a lot of comfort. I consider them my therapy dogs. That's, so, and I'll just close with this. A friend who's sitting here said to me the other day as I was processing this stuff and telling her about just the process I'm going through, she said, are you trying to medicate your feelings with something outside yourself? And I said, of course I am. I'm like, I'm an addict. That's what I do. What I can do today, and sometimes the best I can do, is medicate with something like prayer, meditation, connecting with another person, being grateful. I have prayers. I meditate now every day, that I can medicate with those, and that's a hell of a lot better than medicating with my long list of addictions that I chose, because when I didn't know any better, I chose those addictions to take care of myself. That's what I was trying to do. So now, yeah, I can cop to trying to medicate with certain things that are a lot better than the other list. And I just see it all going back to that first day I walked into AA, October 11th, 1984. And I did not have a smooth sailing. I stayed in AA. I never drank. I had a multi-year relapse on pills. How to address I was a very bad sugar addict. Like I had blackouts, intoxication. And to me, alcohol, sugar, same thing. One's liquid, one's the other. Have to be free of them all. So I'm just really, really grateful to sit in this room on this day and hope that something I said helps somebody out there. Thank you.